it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.
Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie Podcast. I'm Charlie Perry, here with my guest, Nathan Victor. This dude in this community, in a lot of communities, he don't need no introduction, because when he steps in the room, you know he's here. You know he's here. And, I love it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this has been a good week for me, man. I've been doing a few things, but I couldn't wait for this podcast, man. You got me all excited. You know, we talked a few weeks ago, and I said, yeah, because that first one was tremendous. So, you know what? Your story is an amazing story, and I'm glad you were blessed and still here, still able to talk with us and communicate, and you know, and through this whole experience, let's go back. Let's go back day one.
All right.
Day one, you get the news, and you don't have to make decisions, but I mean, it's real important that you make a quick decision, right? So
yep.
Can you let's talk about that, man? What happened, man?
I was at Charlton Hospital, and my cardiologist told me that I had a defibrillator put in. So in case anytime my heart started, you know, they can just remotely just shock me and bring me back to life. That wasn't a big deal. But when he came back into the room and said he closed the door, they had never closed the door before. Wow. And because those doors are only one way in, one way out doors. So that door will swing all the way open, and it'll swing all the way closed to close your bathroom door. So you never have like any privacy anyway. So when I seen him grab that big door and close it, he said, you need a new heart.
Wow.
And I was just like, wow, there was really nothing else I could say. So I just asked him, I said, what do I need to do? He said, just keep doing what you're doing, and but do it better.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I said, because I mean, I don't eat red meat, I don't eat pork, I don't smoke, and I don't drink. So I didn't know what more I could do. And then he said, well, you know, you're borderline diabetic right now. He says, but I can understand that because you're not exercising at all, because my heart's too weak for me to exercise. Mm-hmm. So I was putting on weight, and the heart medication that I was taking was causing the actual diabetes itself, causing my insulin levels to be messed up, to fluctuate, go way up, go way down, and things of that nature. So and then the first person I called was Mosadi. That was the first person I called. I didn't call my mom. I didn't call nobody. I called him. And true to form, it's like he is. He was like, "What they tell you to do?" And I told him. He said, "Well, do that." And that was it. I mean, there's nothing really else you could say. I mean, I would have said the same thing if somebody would have hit me with. I mean, he knew I was sick. I didn't just spring it on him. I mean, that's my brother. So you know, I let him know, and he told me what I had to do. And then I called my mom, and I told my mom, and my mom was just completely quiet.
Yeah,
she didn't say anything.
Well, she made a good man, right?
Yeah,
she raised you right,
and
see, so the shock and awe is definitely going to hit her hard, because you know, it's just being with you and raising you. You guys are all close, and so I can't even imagine what she's going through.
Well, when the community found out, that was the hit. When the community found out, because you know, everybody knows the Victor last name. So you know, when the community found out, you know, my phone's going crazy, and nobody knew where I was living at the time. You know, they knew I was around, they just didn't know where I was at, and I had to keep it that way.
Yeah.
But if I didn't, I never would have been relaxed. I would not have been in a relaxed state to go into the hospital and do the things I needed to do, because I would always been on the phone. Somebody would always been in the house. So you know, I had a little bat cave that I was at that nobody knew about.
So true.
So.
Yeah, you don't want to, especially around that time, right? You gotta reserve your energy. You got and repeating stories over and over again. Guess what?
Mm-hmm.
that could be exhausting.
Talking was really tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. And you did, there was a point where you lost your voice a little bit, quite a bit.
Yeah.
The through our last podcast that we had, one of the amazing things that you talked about is your relationships that you build with some people during that process. And how's that contact been? You maintained it? You guys still in touch? You're still
my core group of people, like family and friends, that never really changed. But there was some people that were added to the circle that I never expected. I'll tell you that. And then my team of doctors, I obviously hear from them less now because I'm doing so well. So I don't hear from them. I'm on a schedule now where I only report to Tufts once a year. Well, actually twice, because I do a preliminary checkup and then I do my yearly, and that's it. I don't hear from them anytime during the year at all. Because the heart that I have, I've had no rejection at all, nothing. Every test that I've taken since my transplant has been achieved with flying colors, and I've kept my stress level down. I have not been mad since August 19th, 2018, when I received the heart. My Knicks are doing pretty good. Can't complain about that. My Bears are terrible and my Mets are terrible, but other than that, I'm not yelling at the TV. I'm not doing any of that, man. I'm completely relaxed.
I hear you.
It feels weird.
We did have a brief conversation about that, and it's so true. How it just puts you in a different mindset with everything. Every single thing. Y'all are living example of it. Not that you was a mean spirited guy, anyways, but you wasn't the one that nobody should be crossing you because you're probably gonna have some problems, right?
Yeah, I'm dealing with that now professionally, where I have someone who's really pushing me, and I don't respond.
Yeah.
I walk away,
and that's good because I've been doing this walk away thing since I kind of left the job, and I just about face. I don't need any vibe. I don't need it. If it's affecting me once I leave the workplace, I gotta go.
Yep.
And even in friendships, it's the same exact thing. You just kind of, you just say, all right, I had enough of this. It's not goodbye forever, but it's got to be momentarily. It's got to be goodbye,
Absolutely.
So, there's one thing that I'm very impressed with you and it's your speaking abilities. And what about public speaking and helping other people, other patients maybe, or has that come your way?
Yeah, it has. But Charlie, you know me and my family very well. We're very direct. We're very loud. You know what I mean? I don't have that so-called chill button or anything like that. So before COVID hit, I did that because there's a group of random people that came into my room while I was fighting for my life. They were called the Hart Brothers. And they were a whole foundation started by a guy that had heart problems himself. And they were like, we would love for you to join. And I haven't joined anything since the Boys Club. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a Boys Club.
What was your club number? What was your number?
But when I left the last time, I think I had someone that had the audacity to call me. I had to block that.
Yeah.
I want to say it was like 1208 because I had a 4-digit number because I was a senior.
All right.
In your senior room. So that was that. But the group of the Hart Brothers, they're a great foundation. I never became an official member, but I did speak to patients at Tufts. And what would happen was I would go for a checkup and they would say, oh, wait a minute. We got him. He's here. I'm looking around like, who are you talking about? And they were like, we're talking about you. And after everything they did for me, I'd be a fool not to help them out. So I said, whatever you need. I just went into a room blindly, and there was an older guy in his 70s, and when he leaned over and he looked at me, he wasn't expecting to see. Charlie, you didn't see the way I looked. At that time I was about 148, 150. So I still had all my clothes on, like I was still 265. So everything I have on is fresh to death, but it's falling off me. I look like a designer hobo. And he's just looking at me. And then I told him a little bit. We both had the same device. We both had an LVAD device, which is that bag you always saw me with.
Yep.
And that was the bag that was keeping me alive. And a lot of people didn't know that.
Mm.
And I explained to him my situation. And I just told him, honestly. And when he smiled, I was like, all right, my job is done.
Yeah.
But he smiled, my job was done because he had comfort. Because he wasn't expecting a young guy at that time. I was what, 47, I think. I think I was 47.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, I was young. I was younger. I was about 45 or 46 because it was before COVID.
Okay.
And so they were just starting those COVID measures in the hospital at that time. I didn't have a mask on yet, but it was wild. It was wild, man. I haven't stepped up and done it as much as I should be doing it because I got a job.
Yeah.
You know, so now that I've had time off from my job, I haven't been scheduled to work. I should have been doing more of it, but it just completely slipped my mind because I haven't done it in years.
Mm.
You know, so I have a schedule now. Like right now, I'd be doing push-ups.
Yeah.
Do 160. I do 160 push-ups a day, which sounds like a lot. People are like, oh man, Nate's really getting it. That's only 4 sets of 40. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not like, you know, before I would start off at the top of an hour and do 40 push-ups all the way to the next part of the hour.
True.
You know, so I can only do it now for probably about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, but because the heart I did receive is really small.
Okay.
Like people have to understand, like when you make a fist and put that fist in the middle of your chest like this, that's how big your heart is. My original heart was as big as 2 of my fists.
Mm.
And the heart that I have now is this big.
Wow.
So they took I tell them all the time and they laugh. I say they took an 18-wheeler and put it inside of they took a Ferrari engine and put it into an 18-wheeler is what they did. So I do have to step up and help more and stuff like that. I've even gone out a lot more than I was going out before. I was staying home around because of COVID.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so I'm popping into the boys club, even doing something like that. I haven't been in the real boys club, Jenny Street, since 1997.
Wow.
So when I went there last Thursday, it was weird because they have a whole new entryway to get in. There's stuff beeping. Charlie, there's stuff beeping, right? So when I go in, I'm like, oh man, because I had a weapon on me. I was like, oh man, I can't. I thought something was gonna happen, so I didn't say anything. Then when I kind of came out, I saw Ray Houtman, I saw everybody else up in there. I saw Ronnie Raymond. I saw Charlie DePina. So I got to talk to everybody. And when I went back into my car, I took my knife out and put my knife away. But that's about it. And I'm saying to myself, good thing Mr. Vincent wasn't alive, man, because if he would have heard that thing beeping, he would have checked me and everything, and we would have had a fight right in the hallway. I would have fought back, you know that. I would have just been like, you know what, you got it. I would have just left. But
it's nice, man. It's
yeah.
We got some great people checking on us. You know, we got Mike Samail saying hi, Reggie Victor.
Oh boy.
Butch Texera, you know, Butchie, my man.
Yeah.
We got Rob Davis, my brother, your friend. Nice.
Yeah.
B Mags just checked in. He says, my guy wanted a fresh pair of Timbs as soon as he was able to get out. Blessings, and yeah, I love it.
He came and picked me up.
Yeah.
He came and picked me up and said, yo, man, I wasn't going nowhere. I just it was winter time and I needed a fresh pair of Timbs like I do every winter. He was like, yo, I'll come pick you up right now. And he picked me up and he brought me to Kings Highway to Expressions.
Nice.
And we both know Todd that owns Expressions. And I went up in there, got my size 13s and came back home and didn't go anywhere. I just had a fresh pair of Timbs. That's it.
That's it. B Mags, my man. He's
good brother, man. Always has been. Whole family.
Yep.
Whole family, man.
Got that right. Rob says that knife was too heavy for him.
Had a custom at that time. Well, actually, the time that I have now, I had a custom. I know a knife maker in Canada, and he made me one. It's a pocket knife. It's about the size of my phone, folded. You know, and when you take it out, I mean, it's a very, very heavy blade. Yeah. Very heavy. I would say the thing weighs about 2 to 3 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. That's I wanted it heavy to let me know that I was in shape to actually be able to do this. Like you can see, I'm not able to put that finger there because I'll start shaking. I don't have the dexterity to hold the pen really well. That's from the strokes.
Okay.
So the 2 strokes and the heart attack did that.
What's the greatest limitation you got? You know,
short-term memory loss.
Okay.
I have to really, I really try to remember things short term. Long term is like an elephant.
Wow.
Short term is horrible. Like I have to, there's just different things that I did, like especially during COVID. I made flashcards on my own.
Mm,
I took numbers and put them on cards, and I would hide them around the house, under couches, underneath a lamp or something like that. And I would go back to it and try to remember the number that I had. It took me probably about 6 months to get really good at that, and that's when I knew I had a kind of a better hold on my short term memory.
mm,
When I told my doctors that, how did you come up with it? I said, well, I remember using flashcards in, you know, kindergarten. When you do your multiplication tables and stuff like that. For some reason, that popped into my mind, and I did that,
mm.
and it worked.
Wow, man. Now how's mom coming along now? How's she?
She was just in the room being nosy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She's not in pain no more. She doesn't have to look at me like something's gonna happen or anything like that. Because
Mhm.
when I got out of the hospital, my insurance had me having a visiting nurse come to the house, and that was very humbling, because being an able-bodied guy and being able to work out and do whatever you want to do at any time you want,
Mhm.
to go into have someone come to clean you, because
Yeah.
I could not take a shower because of the device.
Mm.
I could not do it. So they waited for me. They waited for about I would say, because I received my heart. It wasn't even a year. I received my heart in like 9 months. So
Okay.
I never left the top position. I was position 1A the whole time.
Man.
So my mom was the one that was actually washing me and cleaning my wound and changing it every day, because she had to get trained on how to do that in the hospital. And she was the one that did that. She volunteered to do it. She was still working at the time. So when she
Wow.
came home from work, she would clean me up, and then we'd have something to eat. She'd watch her MSNBC, and I'd go to sleep. That was
Mm.
it. And then they gave me a bag to go on top of my bag that I already had. And it was to keep me clean while I took a shower, because they knew if they told me to take a shower earlier, I'd have been fresh to death. I'd have been taking showers all the time, because I hadn't taken a shower in about a year and a half.
Man.
That
Man.
was a year and a half before I took a shower. So I was going to the bathroom, and I had to pass all kinds of tests, because when not being able to take a shower, they gave me this medicine, this foam and stuff that you could put on your body. Even after I washed, I would put it on there, and it
Yeah.
smelled of the hospital. So
Wow.
it worked. It worked my brain here when I was using that.
Mm.
So I just found some really good products to clean myself with, and I did that. I would just clean my underarms, my privates,
Yep.
butt crack, and that's it. Because I couldn't lean down all the way and wash my legs or anything like that, so I had to use the foam for that while I was sitting down. But
Wow.
after I received the heart, I still didn't take a shower,
Yep.
because I had the zipper going down, and
Okay.
I had this big pad. It's like a feminine product pad. It was like I had a tampon all the way down
Mhm.
my chest that went from my neck down to my navel, and I definitely didn't want to get that wet. And they were like, Nate, when we tell you to take this off, you have to take showers. I'm like, can you smell me? And they're like, no, we don't smell you, Nate. You don't stink. You actually have great cologne on. I was like, I had some Gucci cologne on, so I wasn't bumping. And that time that I had the next checkup after they took the bandage off, the nurse came and she cleaned it, and it was just weird to have somebody, because I still didn't feel comfortable washing myself. And
Yeah.
when the nurse came by, it was a dude. His name was Tony, and
Yep.
he was a freshman when I was a senior. And he comes over and he says, "I know you."
Yep.
And I'm like, "How do you know me?" He goes, "You used to argue in the hallway with that dude that used to rap all the time. I never heard the guy say a sentence. I just heard the guy rap all the time." He was like, he said his name is the something. I said, "The Rock."
Mhm.
He was like, "Yeah, yeah, that's him. That's him." I said, "Yeah, I used to argue with him in the hallway all the time, him and my man Super V." And he was the guy that cleaned me first, and he gave me the confidence. He said, "Hey, Nate, listen, man. When your insurance runs out, I'm not coming here no more. So you're gonna have to learn how to wash yourself." I said, "Listen, I know how to wash myself, but I'm looking at these. I don't have a chest anymore. There's no muscle. It's just the
Mhm.
zipper and the railroad tracks that go down." So I once I got up the courage to do that, I was fine. But
Man.
there was little baby steps like that, and when they told me I could drive,
Yeah.
I purposely did not have my insurance pick me up at my home and bring me to the hospital. I had my mom do it, so my
Okay.
mom could see and learn with the doctors at each step that I was going through, that she could learn from it, and she did. And she did. She would. I mean, she wasn't watching me anymore at that point, but she was going through the stages of where they were saying, because I could drive when I had the device before, but going across your body, little simple things like that with the steering wheel, and you know, it was making my chest crack because my chest was healing. So
Wow.
yeah.
And you just mentioned something. There's a lot of people in the world going through a lot of things with
Hmm.
not having insurance.
Yeah.
And how that play out for you.
I didn't have any.
Oh, see, yeah,
I didn't have any. This is what happened with the insurance. I'm very stubborn, and
yep,
as we all know, and I wasn't taking help from nobody because I'm six figures plus. You know what I mean? I got money. I've always had money since when my career popped off. I've never lived check to check. I've always had money, and I had been destitute down to my bank account being at, like, I think I might have had 78 cents or something like that. It was something below $1. It was
wow,
70 something cents in there, and I had nothing. And when I had my first stroke, when I went to the hospital, the woman that was there, the nurse, well, not the nurse, she was the like the HR person, the representative of the hospital,
hmm,
and she looked at me and she saw my last name, and you know what that means.
yep,
She starts running down the whole family tree, and she's
hmm,
naming all the people that she knows, and she says, well, I said, listen, I said, ma'am, I said, I don't have any health insurance, so I said, I don't know how. I said, I know you guys have a Hippocratic oath. You have to take care of me anyway. I'll figure
hmm,
it out once I get out of here. She was like, you know what? We can sign you up for Mass Health right now. I said,
wow,
okay. I said, that's fine. And she looked at me and she grabbed my wrist and she says, you're all set. You already have Mass Health. You already have insurance. And I know who did it for me. And she didn't tell me that she did it.
your mother.
No, Jen Montero.
Wow, check it
Yeah,
out.
Jen Montero. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's
Then I
nice.
said, could you excuse me? I said, I have a phone call to make. And I
Hmm.
called her up, and you know her,
Yep.
all 4'11" of her.
Hmm.
You stupid MFer, and you blah blah blah. You're stubborn. You're stubborn. I had to do it. You're not gonna die on me. And she was
Yep.
right. She was right. She was 1000% right, man. So I had to lay my ego down, man. And then when COVID hit, that just really was just horrible because nobody could be around me at
Mm,
all, at all,
yeah.
because my immune system is purposely at 50%. I take medicine to make sure my immune system stays at 50%. Because if it goes anything above that, my natural body is going to understand that this foreign object in my chest, my new heart, is alien to my system, and it'll start rejecting and I'll die.
Man.
So,
Yeah.
so when people see me that don't know the background of what I've been through, I found that people were protecting me.
Mm,
People would come out of nowhere, like the barbershop. When I would go into the barbershop, I would have my mask on or whatever. And this is like, during the tail end of COVID. And when my doctors were like, well, you can go outside now, Nate, make your interactions minimal. So what I did was, and your brother KP is famous for this, I didn't go inside the barbershop. They had a chair outside. So I would
nice.
sit on the barbershop, and that's Route 6. So anybody
Hmm.
that wanted to see me, I'm chilling on the chair. They beep the horn, and I'd wave or whatever, and I would be out there for about 3-4 hours. And then here comes KP.
Yep.
KP, for people that don't know, that's Charlie's brother. And he would get out the vehicle. He couldn't get close to me. He would get to the curb, and he would be with his wife sometimes, and he would hold up traffic. And I would look up the hill, and traffic is backed up way past Vermette's. And he's sitting there chopping it up with me like we're at Monty's talking on the wall. I'm like,
Yeah.
KP, you got to go, man. I said, you're covering everything up. And he started to get emotional. I've never seen KP emotional before.
Hmm.
Never, never. So, he was like, can I give you DAP? I said, we can pound it out, man. So I gave him my fist, and I said, listen, man, I said, one of the first people I'm going to give DAP to when everything clears up is going to be you. And I said, you can hold up traffic as much as you want.
Hmm.
And that took about 6 to 7 months for it to happen. And I was out there without a mask on, and he parked it. He just threw it in park.
Hmm.
We just hugged each other, and that was it.
Nice.
That was
Great
it.
story.
That was it.
I tell everybody that all my life I had KP with me, so it was like
Yep.
growing up with your best friend.
Yep.
So I had that. Between him and majority of my Rob. I had Rob with me
Yep.
throughout. So those are the two aces. We just went through a lot together. So and but it was nice. Especially going across country and moving to LA. I didn't worry about looking for friends.
Mm-hmm. Did you have KP?
Yeah. And then when I went to Florida, I had Rob there. So I didn't have to find anybody. You know, I had those two with me,
Hmm.
and made things a little bit easier because I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to leave New Bedford. So
Yeah.
yeah. So Jack says he has an AFib. Jack
Ah,
McGee.
I skipped that stage.
Yeah.
I skipped that. I went way past that. I went from being perfectly healthy to fighting for my life.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I met the team at Tufts, I met them on my own, and
Mm,
because I did the research of who I wanted to do, who I wanted to perform my procedures, and so I told my primary doctor, actually my cardiologist in Fall River, told him, I said, listen, I said, his name was Pat, and I said,
yeah.
hey Pat, I said, these are the group of people I want to, I need them rocking with me, man. I need them to, this is the team. This is the best team that's here in this area, and it's one of the best teams in the country. So I need them. He made a
Mm,
phone call. He says, this is who I was going to suggest you to go see anyway. I said, his name is Dr. D'Onofrio, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, Nate, I have all the information here. Relax, bro. Relax, relax. I got it. And when he forwarded the information at that time, he gave me the surgery to have a defibrillator. My defibrillator was underneath my rib cage right here,
mm,
not inside my chest. It was underneath my ribs because he thought in the future I was going to have so many devices hooked up to me that this device was basically brand new and it'd be the most evasive. So I had the defibrillator over here underneath my armpit going down my rib cage. I had a receiver here and a transmitter here. So it was a triangle. And
mm,
that's how if anything would have happened to me, it would have shocked myself by itself. And I'm eager for it to go off because I'm
yeah.
so sick. So I'm like, I want to know what it feels like. And then
Hmm.
they're like, Nate, no, you don't. No, you
Yeah.
don't. They're like, we understand you're a tough guy and everything. You're doing a lot of this stuff without the painkillers, but if that thing goes off, it's gonna feel like a car engine falling on your chest.
Mm,
And at that time, this is where it gets really I got emotional by myself because I realized that I might need one of those meta bracelets. I've fallen down and I can't get up.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
might need one of them. So my man Pascarella, that I'm cool with, we worked together in television in Connecticut. He was like, Nate, he said, why don't you get one and just make it gold? Like dip it in gold or something. You'll feel better about it.
Hmm.
And just as I thought about that was going to happen, I ended up living in the hospital. So I was at the safest place I could be.
Man, it's you just mentioned about work, you know, and
Yeah,
when you were telling me uh we were in we are in church and you're telling me you're going back to work, and
yeah,
I was like, all right, he's ready. He's ready, you know, and that was good to hear because you know what, there's one thing nobody can deny: your sports knowledge, right?
nah,
Um and you definitely got it, right?
yep.
But I found out something else about you, you know.
Oh, you doing homework?
I just at this conversation, you know, say your name and
Yeah,
then
you're
things
doing
come
homework.
up,
You were doing
stories come
homework.
up. But you are definitely that hip hop encyclopedia, bro. You said, yo,
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah,
say you're better than Google, man.
yeah,
And
yep,
that's good. I hope that you know, maybe something can happen on the mags in the morning or something. You guys can talk hip hop and just go, man, and just share some stories because it was you know, it's so you hear the different videos of KRS-One. He's talking about different how, you know, they just forgot about hip hop, and then now all of a sudden now they want to kind of celebrate this 50th
yep,
anniversary and
yep,
so on and so forth. And he was so true. It was so factual what he was saying. It's like, yeah, but we knew all that, right? Community people knew all that, and they all felt that way.
yep,
And then when the backlash comes, and it's like, why don't they just go and accept it? And no, you don't understand that. You know, people were in their prime at their young age. You know, and now that they're older, and now you want them to be this go on stage, and they're not moving as well. They're not maybe rapping as well, and then it's sad. You know, it's sad. So, but we knew that, and I would love to see you discuss that with a bunch of people, you know, 3 or 4 people. And Frank Slaughter, amazing and riveting story. Yes, Frank. Nathan Victor is amazing story. before and after the surgery, and so I'm so happy to have him. I was able to. This is the second podcast we had with him, and there's no hesitation when it comes to Nathan Victor and his stories. You know,
with the hip hop, Charlie. While I was sick, and I get a text from Vernon, right? Sky King. So I said, what's up, man? He goes, yo, I hate to bother you, dog, but we Boys Club kids. I got a question, and he asked me the question. I'm not going to tell you what he asked me because I'll be giving it away. But he needed to know where a sample came from, and I rattled it off off the top of my head, and I gave him the link to the YouTube where it came from, and he used that, and he chopped it up, and he put it on the Dirty Dirty album before the Dirty Dirty album came out, and it made the album cut. I didn't know that Vernon was producing the whole thing. I just knew that he just needed it for this song. I didn't know he produced the whole thing. Not that he didn't have the skills to do it. I just didn't know he was doing the whole album. And after he got it done, he was like, yo, I got your copy for you whenever you. And then he found the location of the Batcave and who I was living with, and it blew his mind. He was like, are you serious? This is my cousin. You damn Cape Verdeans, you're all related.
I love it.
Yeah.
Reggie says, ask him about changing channels in the hospital watching the Cowboys.
All right. This is what happened. I'm literally fighting for my life at this time.
Yeah.
And my cousin Reggie, my aunt Pat, my cousin Roy, Patrick, my cousin Brenda, they all came to visit me. So, between Patrick and Roy and Reggie, that's 6'6" and above, and we're not little. We take up room too. Then we got my aunt Pat, who's probably about 5'6", but her mouth is like my mom, so it's about 6'9". So she comes into the room, and I'm laying in my bed. I'm basically an invalid, and my upper body works fine, but my lower extremities, I had muscle atrophy because I'm not using them. Mm-hmm. So I hadn't walked in months, so my legs are super super thin, and when I sleep, I don't cover my feet. And I got size. At that time, my feet were a size 13. I wasn't having pedicures done in the hospital, so I got my feet are straight talons. I'm like how owls when you lift up their feathers and you see their skinny legs, that's what I look like. So I told the nurse that I was hungry and I needed a snack, and her name was Mo. I called her Big Mo. Yeah. My brother Mo is a big guy, so I called her Big Mo, and she came in. And she was like, hey, how's everybody doing? Wait a minute. Let me guess. You guys are all victors because you're not the mother side. So they start laughing. And Patrick hands me the applesauce. And my pride and me being stubborn, Charlie, I couldn't open it. I was too weak.
Wow.
I'm fiddling with it. I'm making sure it doesn't fall on the floor. I'm fiddling with it. And then Patrick's big mitt comes over and just snatches it. You stupid MFer. And he rips it open and he gives me the spoon. He's like, you want me to feed you too, chump? And I just looked at him and I was so happy because I saw how hurt he was because I couldn't even perform that basic task. But the fact that he called me a chump let me know that he was treating me normal. And that's all I cared about. And it took me about 20 minutes to eat the applesauce because it took all the energy to take those 3 scoops and put it in my mouth and swallow it on my own. Exactly. So while I went through that, I got something in my system where even though it's not a lot, because I'm only 45 pounds, it knocked me out. And when it knocked me out, I was only down for maybe about 5 minutes because my Aunt Pat was on the side of me, praying for me because I could hear that. Yeah. And I woke up and Reggie switches my TV to the Cowboy game. I'm like, yo, what you doing, man? So underneath my bed, I had the remote control for the channel and he couldn't see it. And I clicked it back. He was like, yo, there's something wrong with your TV. There ain't nothing wrong with my TV. Ain't nothing wrong with my TV, man. I said, don't you ever switch my TV again. And he just started laughing. He didn't know how I switched it because I had the remote underneath the cover. And I switched it back. I said, if you want to go see the Cowboys, go home. And then even at that time, my cousin Roy was a pastor at that time for probably about 2 to 3 years. Yeah. And I had forgot about that because I'm not thinking about that. All I'm thinking about is surviving and just trying to find a way to live. And when I do come out of this, how much function am I going to be? How much of the old Nate am I going to be? Yeah. And Roy laid down the prayer for everybody in that room, man. That was, oof. My little bird chest that I had, my nipples were touching because I was so skinny. My chest was touching. And I gave everybody a hug and shook everybody's hand as hard as I could. And that was it. And my cousin Patrick will tell you when you see him, he tells me all the time when he calls me. We always tell we love each other anyway. My
Yeah.
father left behind rules for me to follow, to take up his role, to take up the mantle and the foundation that he left. So the rules of me and the family are different now.
All
So
right.
Patrick
Wow.
said, I thought that was the last time I was going to see you because he says, you're going to die. I didn't see you coming back from that. And when I came back from that, it was probably about 2.5. It definitely wasn't 3 years later. And we saw each other. And actually, he came to my house. He brought a birthday cake.
Nice.
And I'm sitting there and I'm chopping it up with him. And he's got his head down. I said, yo, I tried to reach over and like smack his chin up, but I missed. But when I did that, what's the natural thing? Boop, boop, boop. He squares up and throws a 2-piece at me. And I get out the way of the 2-piece. He, oh my God, I'm so sorry because I'm so sorry. I thought you were healthy. I said, I'm healthy enough. And then he looked me in the face and he said, yo, cuz, I thought you were gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were gonna die. He said, I thought I would never see you again. So I hit him with a surprise, and I yelled out surprise, and that was it. And we hugged each other, and that's it.
That's nice.
That's it. The phone calls I received in the ICU, I was only awake for 1 day to receive these phone calls. Yep. That's how later on I figured out that what had happened. I had checked out. Didn't know it. So when I came back, the nurse walks into the room, and she says, there's no phones in my room at all because everything that's in my room, the ICU room, there's a glass wall, and that wall is designed to collapse whenever they want it to, so they could just wheel me right out and do what they got to do. And apparently that wall had collapsed a couple of times. I didn't know. I didn't know until I got my medical records and took a look. But everything in that room was all hooked up to me. All my arms, my chest, my throat, everything was hooked up to me. And I had these space boots on, which I later found out was to prevent me from having strokes again, to heat my legs up to give me the circulation.
Wow.
So I got the phone calls that day, and the first one was from my girl Julie, that she lives in Vermont. We grew up together. I mean, I've known her since I was 6 years old. Her father was my Cub Scout master, and we became very, very close. I mean, she named her daughter after me and everything. Man. And she had been calling the hospital every day. Listen, she's not the most affluent person in the world.
Yeah.
So her cell phone bill was pretty high. And I'm not thinking about any of this at all because I don't know.
Yeah.
So nurse was like, you have a phone call. So I grabbed the phone. She gives me a regular cordless phone, like you're at the crib.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I pick up the phone, like, hello? Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm like, yo, who is this? And once I figured it out, because I said, yo, you better not cry. You better not cry. I said, because if I get emotional or anything like that, if I get happy or if I make you laugh, all these machines are going to go off. Yeah. She was like, how do you feel? I said, I feel great. No, you don't, you MF, do you know what happened to you? Blah, blah, blah. I said, but you're about to tell me. And she commenced to tell me what she knew because the nurses were like, listen, they must have talked to my mom. They said it was okay to give her information because it was only my mom, my cousin Bill DePina, who was second in charge of my life, and I guess her that knew what was going on, and my sister, of course. But once she found out that happened, I talked to her for maybe about 5 minutes, and Charlie, I was doing all I could to talk to this woman, and I love her. I love her. Yeah. I was doing everything I could to talk to her to make her feel. I'm cracking jokes. I'm saying whatever. I got to mind you, I'm high. I'm high now. I'm cracking jokes, so the jokes are uncensored. And she's a woman, so I'm being super disrespectful. And she's laughing, and I hang up the phone. That phone call is done. Yeah, I never had the phone in my room before because I was never conscious to have the phone. So they left the phone with me. As soon as she hung up, the phone rang again, and I naturally picked up the phone because I thought I was at home because I'm high. And I pick up the phone as Jen Montero. I said, what's popping? She was like, are you serious? What's popping? That's how you pick up the phone? She's going on and on and on and on. Then I told her, I said, yo, don't worry about it, Jen. I said, I'm going to get in my car. I'm going to go to your house. I'm going to pick up the rest of my jewelry. I'm going to come back to Tufts, and I'm going to wait for this heart, and I'll be all set. Yep. And she was like, all right, man, that's cool. That's cool. And she hung up the phone. And then after she hung up, Reverend Edmund Gomes called.
Wow.
When he called, I mean, because he lives in Virginia. Mm-hmm. So when he called, we talked about him trying to get me to go to Liberty University after high school, and how Jabril was trying to get me to go to North Carolina A&T, and I didn't do either one of them things. And how he was trying to help me, and I was too stubborn for the help. I said, I would have wasted your time, and I would have wasted your money. I love you too much to do that. Yeah. You know, so we talked about basketball. We talked about Buttonwood Park. We talked about the front. We talked about Monty's. And he just kept my mind off things, and I went to sleep. And then the next thing I knew, I don't know how much time passed, but I knew a long time had passed. I woke up and I was back at the unit that I arrived at, which is called Pratt 8, which is not a good place. I mean, they're great people, but it's not a good place to be because you're
Wow.
knocking on death's door on that floor. But they let me go. I actually went home after that. I came home after that. And then my face blew up. I had a hemorrhage in my face, a blood hemorrhage in my face from my device that I had. Sometimes it causes, hemorrhages, and mine have to take place in my face. So my whole face blew up. And
Wow.
my nose is already long enough. It looked like a 2-car garage on my face, man. And I went there and they cleaned me up and took all this because I couldn't stop bleeding because I was on the blood thinners. So I kept bleeding and I had to go to Charlton first because they wanted to make sure I didn't need a transfusion on my way to Tufts. So where I live in Freetown is kind of close to Fall River. So it was no big deal for me to go there. And when I went there, oh my God, I met the white Serena Williams, Charlie. Good Lord. Her name was Alicia. She worked in the ER and she was killing the outfit. Oh God. So I tried to holler at her. My nose was all busted up. I got blood coming all over the place, man. And she's like, listen, I got a boyfriend, but just, when you come back, and you know what? I never did go back. I never did go back to show her I had the new heart. But she took care of me, man.
That's nice. It that's a good. I'm just visualing that.
It was crazy.
Wow.
I'd never seen a white female built like that in my life, ever. Ever. She was low to the ground too. It was wonderful. After I told her, "Do you drink a lot of milk?" She was like, "Yep," and I exercised. I said, "Can we have a prayer? Because I want to say God bless you." She was like, "We sure can. We sure can." And we did. I said, "But you have to touch me though. You got to touch my hand." And she grabbed my hand really tight, and we had a prayer, and that was it.
That's nice.
Yeah.
There's some good comments. Frank Slaughter says one of the best stories I heard on your podcast. He points out a clear and compelling vision of the events and hold your attention. So true. I know it.
I wrote down everything.
Yeah.
I had a Google Pixel phone, the very first one in that hospital, and that's when I started writing my book. So instead of typing it in email to keep myself alert, I typed myself a text message, and when I ran out of characters for that, I would just start a new message. I think I have something like I don't know, 4,000 something messages on that phone that I had to transcribe myself and put them together to put them in a real format.
Nice.
So that little phone and that little video game that I played on that phone, it kept me going. Kept me going, man.
Steve Estevez says, "What an amazing story. I'm so glad so many of us have the opportunity to hear your story."
Now, do you know Steve?
Steve, yeah, that's my good friend, man.
I have been friends with Steve Estevez since probably the 2nd grade.
He is an amazing dude, and
his family's incredible, man. His family's incredible. I'm going to single out his dad, but his dad. When I moved into when I lived across the street from the front, when I lived on Chancery Street next door to the Barbos, my parents moved me to the white neighborhood. Still went to the same school, but it was a whole different animal. And Dave Gonsalves, my man Dave, his family, Scott and Todd Enos, the Knox family, and Steve Estevez. Steve Estevez didn't live in my neighborhood. He lived 3 blocks away, but they were 3 long blocks, so it wasn't like he was part of the immediate neighborhood. I'll never forget it. When I had a birthday party, Steve gave me the money that he had because I had a sleepover, and Steve gave me something like $7. It was an odd number. I didn't care. I was going to have all my friends over. So when I went over to go pick Steve up to come back to my house, and his father, I said, "Mr. Estevez, how you doing?" He shook my hand, and he says, "What's in your pocket?" Because I had the money hanging out. I said, "Oh, Steve gave me some money for my birthday," and I said, "I really appreciate it." He goes, "Pull it out." He goes, "Pull it out." I'm not of the school to pull out money, not in public. That's not going to happen. And he grabbed my wrist, and he pulled it out. And he says, "Ezush, that's not enough." And he just gives me a knot. He put the knot in my pocket, and I walked back to my house. Me and Steve. Yep. Yeah.
It's Steve is just an amazing dude. I was able to coach with him at the high school for 5 years in freshman football, and amazing dude. And that's another dude that has some crazy stories, right? Especially with New Bedford High School football, right? And even like wrestling, and so I would like to get him on it, but he's so busy. He's always busy with doing things, so
riding that bike a couple of 100 miles. He does that like every 6 months, whatever he's doing with that.
Yep. In fact, I owed I didn't contribute this year by just forgetting about it. I totally
Mhm.
forgot about it, but it's a good cause, and I try to help out as much as I can. But we're surrounded by some good people, man. And
Yeah, and they didn't leave me hanging, man. They
yep,
really didn't. There was some obscure people that popped up that are a little older than you, and I'm
yep,
like, we just know each other on a high and by basis. We don't. I mean, there's respect there because you know my family name, so you really don't have a choice with that.
yep, yep.
And they would talk to me, and it got to the point where even though I was sick, I still had the responsibility of paying respect to people that passed away.
Hmm.
So my dad gave me a different set of rules for that because my dad was the guy that represented our family when you go to them things, and now I'm that person and I'm sick. And
Yeah,
I've been at Saunders so many times, Charlie, that Mr. Saunders pulled me in the office and said if I ever needed counseling, he would help me.
yeah,
And then when my dad died, I stopped talking.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I mean? And I was sick at the time, so I stopped talking. And my dad knew I was sick. And I'm the only one that knew my dad was dying at that time. Nobody else knew. My mother didn't know. Nobody knew. So when my dad died, I never cried. And I still
wow,
have. And I still haven't. Not because I don't have anything to cry about. I don't. I had a great dad who was also, as you know, a dad to everybody else in the community as well.
he sure was a
So,
great
you
dude.
know, so you had a bad thing to say about Al Victor. You had a problem.
Hmm.
It wasn't him. It was you.
Yeah,
So I went through that over there at Saunders, and that was it. And then Jared Xavier stepped in, and I had to speak to. I shouldn't say had to. I spoke to him daily,
mm,
daily. And we all know. Listen, man, I love my man, but he'll get long winded on purpose because he knows my mind will go someplace it doesn't need to go.
yep,
He'll keep me in the story and bring it full circle and bring it back around. Like right now, I'm going through something that it's not stressful to me. I have someone that's really coming at me, and JR said I'm just adding them to my prayer list. And then he snitched on me. He told my mom,
mhm.
so I can't get in trouble even if I wanted to.
Um, I know I asked this a while back on the other podcast, but um, this is an intriguing story, captivating. It's all in the comments. It's the truth. You know what? It's nothing but the truth, man.
Yeah.
And people are just saying it like it is, and so you captivated some interesting people in this comment section. Whoever's looking and viewing us.
Hmm.
Um, and I mentioned to you a while back about a book.
I'm
What
still
do you
working on it. It's almost done. I actually was able to touch on behind them things about my dad. So I want to make sure I don't leave anything out with that. With him,
Yeah.
it took me so long to write about it because I would get very emotional. Like the results of my stroke are the left side of my body shuts down once in a while.
Mm,
So it don't work. It's out of business for whatever time it's out of business. And once
yep.
I get the feeling back, I go do what I do. And I've had two strokes and two strokes and a heart attack before I actually had the heart transplant or had the device that saved my life. The strokes humbled me tremendously because I couldn't work out anymore.
Mm,
Couldn't do
yeah.
it. And you know me, Charlie, I still tried to work out when I had that device. I'd wait for my mom to knock
Yep.
on the phone. It took me about 10 minutes to get on the ground, to get on my hands and knees. And I did one push up and it felt like I was dying.
Man.
I couldn't get up and I couldn't even get myself to the 2 feet to get on top of the couch. So you have anxiety because now I'm holding my breath because I'm trying to
Hmm.
get up there and that's making it worse. And then when I finally got up there, I said, I'm going to go to sleep. I don't have no choice because I'm not. The couch is right here. I'm not going anywhere anyway. When I fell asleep and I woke up, I felt great. I felt great.
Man.
I went to the refrigerator, got a boost, and it's funny because I had that old people drink forever, and that's what kept me. That's what kept me going, man.
Did you have the straw too?
Nah, I didn't.
No. No. All right. Cool.
Nope, I just take it to the head, man. Like it was a 40 ounce back in the day. That was it.
That's it. Our friend on the comment section, Curtis Cruz, he said, Nathan is giving me hope to survive. I'm still here. Yeah, Curtis, man, you keep it up, man. Stay strong, man. I know you're going through some
Kurt's
things.
a good dude, man. And I mean, I remember being a kid, being really young. I shouldn't say a kid, a young adult. And I remember when he first had the problems with the kidney. And as we all know, Mario was the one that gave it to him.
Yeah.
And that just, I was like, what? They were like, yo, Mario gave him his kidney. I'm like, all right, cool. I said, so Kurt's gonna be back in business. And now all these years later, he's going through it again. But I speak to him once in a while.
That's
My
good.
cousin down the road had a New Year's Eve party, and a lot of people know my dad. They don't know my mom. So he was in Freetown, which is Cape Verde. So
Yep.
everybody on that road is related to me, and on my mom's side. And so he's in there, and she says, she said, "Oh, ma'am, what's your name or whatever?" She was like, I'm Skippy's cousin, my cousin Alan Jr. We call him
Yeah.
Skippy." He said, I'm Skippy's cousin." She's like, "Yeah, but what's your last name?" And when she said her last name, he says, "Yo, you know Nate Victor?" She was like, "I think so. That's my son." And they took a picture with each other, and then he sent it to me.
That's nice.
Yep.
Reggie Victor says, Uncle Al took care of my brother and sister when my father died. We're missing Uncle Al big times, and we get older, we're hanging out with him. And he is my, let's say, my brother Patrick Benson. This is my wedding. All right, there's one thing about Al, right? And actually, in that picture of his hat, man, that's iconic, man.
Yeah, the leather pat.
Yeah, that is. And then I happen to see this old picture of him, so I'm like, wow. But I do remember him wearing hats like that, right?
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
crazy. So when I seen it, I'm getting this visual. And there's just, when it comes to your dad, he's just that dude, man. He's just that dude. And he put a lasting impression on me, and it was our last conversation, right? And I can't think of the funeral, but it was in your family. Roger's mom, I think it was.
No, it was my grandmother.
Rock Funeral Home, right?
Because my dad died the week later.
That's right. Yep.
The week later. Yep.
So just to hear all them guys, going at it, dogging each other, capping on each other.
It don't matter where we're at. It don't matter.
It was hilarious, man.
Man.
There's no doubt in my mind if we were able to videotape that would have definitely been.
Yeah, we'd be very rich.
Yeah, that would have been
very, very rich.
Classic.
Now that was my mom's mom. So
all right.
She was such a great person, a wonderful person like my dad. She drew all the Victor people over as well. Mm-hmm. So, it was almost a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
Of family members that were there.
Yeah, and actually you guys filled that place up pretty good.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking I got a visual of the inside and I'm looking at them, and you guys are all through that,
Yeah.
So I see, man, this is everything that I expected, and I just want to basically tell you that anytime you have something to say and you want to kind of put it out to the masses, which you're already doing on your one-on-one conversations with people, but if you want to continue any kind of story with your knowledge, please let me know so we can do this again, man. This is just fascinating. I'm not telling you to go, we don't have to leave. You got some more to say. We can still do it. Deb Silva Gomes says blessings.
Listen, man, Debbie held me down when I was in the hospital, man. Debbie held me down because that's Mo's aunt.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person.
So once she found out I was sick, and I gave her my cell phone number, and she didn't even do that. She just kept hitting me up on Facebook because my phone never shut off in the hospital. I kept it on. Since I've had a cell phone for work, I've never shut a phone off. So I've had a cell phone on me, a cell phone on 24 hours a day, 365 for about 28 years, 27 years.
Yeah.
So I actually just got this new phone I have right now 2 days ago. Because my other one finally died.
Yeah, it's crazy. But what's this that Jack's saying about Smith Mills Camp?
Oh, I got kicked out.
You got kicked out.
I got kicked out the church camp. Yeah.
Who was with you? You?
I'm not going to snitch on nobody, Officer Perry.
I want to blame.
You know what I'm saying? Danny Gonsalves.
Yeah.
My man Carmelo. Danny's brother David.
Yeah.
Fred and Ron Barboza. Smith Mills Camp is located in Dartmouth, and we were there to clean it up for the rest of the church. Yep. And they're like, and Reverend Gomes is like, Nate, you're coming here. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not spending my summer here. I'm spending my summer at Buttonwood Park. I'm not allowed to play ball during the school year as it is. He goes, what? I'm like, my mother doesn't allow me to go to the boys club during the school year.
Yeah.
to play ball. Like I got to be home at 5. Plus I got a paper route to do too. So Jack's talking about that camp. I never went. I only went there to clean it.
Wow.
Did things while the cleanup was happening that they weren't going to allow me at the camp. So that was that.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Jack is me and Jack go back a long ways. You talked about you and Steve, 2nd grade, and I think Jack and I is probably 3rd grade maybe. And I met him through summer school,
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was going to be a bad experience, but nope. We ended up going to the Ashley School up the North End, to do summer school.
Ooh.
And remember that character, Boss Moss?
Absolutely.
Jack was always a big dude, but he had that T-shirt on. But he was cool dude, man. He was cool, and I'll never forget that because he was bigger than most of my friends. I met him, and that was it. The rest is history, man. So, but I'll never forget that. There's one thing that you've been around radio. You definitely productions, different TV things, and now that you're back at work, how's that feel? Is it good for you?
Nah, because my team of doctors, they don't want me to be at the level I was at.
Okay.
They say the stress level will be too high, so I'm not really making decisions that I'm used to running multi-million-dollar commercial breaks, and I don't do that at Channel 7 in Boston. They just don't have it. They don't have the clientele to do it. They have the equipment that could definitely handle it. They just don't have the business model to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's nice. And so I'm watching Channel 7 every morning.
I know why. I know why.
Plead the fifth. So I'm watching it, and it's every time I'm watching it, I'm thinking of you being in the background.
Well, you shouldn't. The person that you should be thinking about is Mike DeCruz, because he's the technical director of that show.
Hey, and I want him on this podcast. I really do, and I know.
Listen, man. Listen. When I wanted to get into television when I was in high school, we were playing ball at Buttonwood, and he had a T-shirt that said WJAR Channel 10.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I thought he was in production, which is totally different from what we do in engineering. I thought he was a producer of some sort. And he told me, he goes, Nate, they have those classes in the high school. You can take them. They wouldn't allow me in the class because of my behavior. They wouldn't. My guidance counselor knew how much I wanted to be in that class. He made sure I wasn't in it. Mr. Wall, I'll never forget him. Me and Corey Garcia had him as guidance counselor, and he was not for us at all. And I said, Corey, look at us now. We were maybe about 23, 24 years old, and we were working at this place, Group W Network Services in Boston. In Connecticut. And I said, look at us now. I said, he let you in the class. You got kicked out the class, and I never even made it inside the class. And now we can teach the class. So. But Mike Cruz, when I saw him playing that day at Buttonwood with that T-shirt on, when he told me about all of that, and then I started at Channel 7 in '96.
Yeah.
In June of '96, I left. I think I left May 12th of '97. So I never even made it a full year there. And I went there and changed my pay grade. It went up like $30,000 when I moved to Connecticut and took that job.
Man.
So Mr. DeCruz is very, very instrumental in my career, man. He takes no credit for it, but I give him all the credit in the world.
Yeah, that's how he is, though.
Yeah.
He's like, I like to see him on this podcast.
He won't do it.
No, yeah,
he's not gonna do it. He won't do it.
And the craziest thing is, like, so I think about him coming on, and then all of a sudden I'm talking to other people that are doing different shows in our area, and then they're talking about getting him on. And we all come with the same thing. Man, it's a good dude. It's a good dude.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna bring up another name, and that's Tony Estevez, and then another good dude. But those dudes don't want it. They don't want to pat themselves on the back, and that's what they feel.
Tony uses Coach uses me as his lawyer. And so he goes, he tells Jared Ramus everything. If you want to know something, you go see Nate Victor. Blah 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 blah. And Jared was like, "Yo, what's going on with that?" I said, "That's my man. That's my man. That was my coach, man." And I said, and he helped me out a ton. a ton. He taught me how to calm down, how to focus, because I had all this energy and I was mad I was a victor and I was little. So I had that small man's complex, and
Yeah.
I played power forward, even though I was that little.
Yeah.
I was playing power forward and beating people up, and he would calm me down. I remember one time I had 5 fouls, and I was about to foul out, and I stopped playing aggressively. And he said he didn't care about the 6 fouls. He said, do whatever you wanted to do. I did whatever I wanted to do, and I still didn't foul out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a great man.
Yeah, I'll see him tomorrow.
Oh, good.
I'll see him tomorrow.
He gave me the first opportunity to coach young kids, and I'll never forget it. And I'm so grateful for him. He could call me at any point, anytime, and I'll get there. Because if that guy's asking me to do something, I'm going to make sure I do it.
Yeah.
For all the amazing things that he's done for me and many other people. Eden Soars, another great dude in our community. He says interviewing or just chatting with Nate is always entertaining. It's so true.
He just had a big showcase last weekend. No, actually 2 weekends ago, and I was there for it.
Yeah.
And Danny Soars showed up. I mean, that's his inspiration. Danny Soars, his cousin.
Yeah.
And I was sat there, and he talked for about almost 2 hours and shared his artwork. Man, it was dope. It was real good, man.
He's just an amazing man. Never mind about his blessings with his artwork, and just does some crazy things. And he's been doing it.
So talented and so humble.
Yeah. Since a young age. I mean, he was really young when he was doing it. So he just perfected it. Even though it was perfection years ago, as a young man. But I love Eden, and I like everything that he does. Actually, there was one thing that he did for me, and I just explained it to him. I said, look, Eden, I want something. I want a symbol with a cop with a hat on, 8-point hat, and I want one side to be black, one side to be white.
What do you do in the 5 minutes?
Yeah, his boom is over. It's done, man. It's
like completed, completely completed.
And the thing is I actually was so upset because it was on a folder that I had at work, and all my cases in there, and I lost that folder. But that sticker was on there. It grew up. It went from elementary school to middle school. That's how long I had it on there, man.
Wow.
It was just something I loved, and so the fact he says love y'all.
Yeah, that's my man. I've known Eden since like the 2nd or 3rd grade too.
That's nice.
He made I'll never forget it, and he laughs every time I bring it up. My long-term memory is very sharp. He had a trapper keeper, and his trapper keeper didn't have schoolwork in it.
Wow.
All he had was designs, graffiti, everything was in there. He had a picture. It was Chester Cheetah, the Cheeto. He had a claw. He had a claw like this, and it had a spray paint. It had a spray paint can in it, and he called it Dr. Claus. Never forgot it. Never forgot it. It looked exactly like Chester Cheetah. He drew it off the TV.
He's laughing,
Yep.
Rob brings up a good point. The SOP logo, Sons of
He did it. He did it.
Yeah,
he did it.
I still have a few things, and he did a great job with that. He did, and but that's him, All right. Well, what we're gonna do, brother, is we're gonna close with any kind of statement you have. You want to give us,
It feels good to talk about life. I don't have to. When people see me now, they don't talk about all, because I've never really opened up and said everything, because I got a book to sell. You know what I'm saying? I can't tell you everything, but there's some stuff that's in there, man. That's just, man. And I think about it. I think about life, like when I get out the shower. There's a mirror right outside when I take my first step when I get out the shower. And for the longest time, I was never looking in the mirror because it had all the steam on it. You know what I mean? And I shave my head before I go into the shower. Well, I shave while I'm in the shower. And when I get out, I don't have to look into the mirror. I just, put my lotion on or whatever and get out, and I'll be rocking. And about 3 years ago, about 2.5 years ago, it was summertime, and I had the window open, so the window didn't steam up, and I saw all my scars for the first time. And and I told my man Mo, I said, "Yo, called him up. I said, "Yo, man, I look like a topographical map." He was like, "You're stupid, man." I said, "Yo, I got all the bumps, the terrain, mountain ranges. I got all kinds of stuff on my body, man. I have I have a grouping on my stomach where they put the 6 tubes in to go up into my lungs to drain to make sure I have fluid in my lungs when I receive the heart. And
Yep.
I had those 6 holes, and I was at what the hell is it? I was at the beach in Dartmouth,
Yep.
and a lady comes by and she says, "Oh, did you get shot?" I'm looking at her. I'm like, "Yo, I don't even know you." And she just
Yeah.
rolled up on this big black dude, and I'm with Buddy Barboza, who was asleep, by the way. So
Yep.
he's 2 Nate Victors. So he's over there snoring away, and you know, he wakes up after she walks away. He's like, "What does she want?" I said, "She just asked me if I got shot." And then I said, "You went from the holes. You couldn't see the big zipper that's going down the middle of my chest. You want to talk about
Yeah.
the holes? Come on, man.
Uh-huh.
Come on, man. Round Hill. We were at Round Hill Beach. That's where we were at.
Yep. Yeah.
That's where we're at." But like I said, I celebrate life a lot more differently now. Like there's people that work with me that might be on here watching, and they see the stuff that I'm going through at work, and I don't complain. I don't have a right to complain. I really don't.
Mm.
I haven't been mad since August 29th, 2018, when I received the heart. I haven't been mad at all about anything. I get cut off on the highway, get cut off while driving or whatever. I'm like, well, at least I'm driving.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm going to get home safe, and that person's going to get home safe, and that's it, man. That's it.
You were definitely blessed, and I'm glad that God did bless you to be here.
Yeah, I was, when I started to gain the weight back and get the muscle back, man, I was really feeling myself. Oh my God, I was talking reckless.
Yeah.
Talking real reckless, man. It was wild. I fought Patrick one time in front of the house, and we squared up with each other, and I was moving and he wasn't moving. He was like, "All right, you made your point." You made your point. And we hugged each other, and that was it, man.
That's classic.
But like I said, man, I just celebrate life, man. And anybody that needs help, man, I'm here to help you with it as much as I can. You know, I still have certain limitations because the left side of my body is never going to work again, and I have 2 parts of my brain that are dead. But when you have strokes, those part of your brains don't heal. They stay dead forever. So I have that, and I humbled myself, Charlie. I went and got handicap license plates, man.
Yeah, you know what?
So I did it. I finally did it. It took a long time for me to do it, but I did it.
Why not? You know what?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Derek Demers, man, Derek, he mentioned you earlier today. We were talking, and yeah, he remembers you from Bonewood Park, and had nothing but praise for you, brother.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Derek's a good guy, man. Very good dude.
Sure is. B Mag says he was threatening me all the way until he got to about 200 pounds.
Right. He's right. He's right. Because I didn't want to be treated differently. I didn't like that. When people came around me, they would talk to me with kid gloves. B Mag didn't do that, by the way. He didn't do that at all.
Yeah.
No, and if I ever needed anything, he was the closest person that lived near me that could give me a ride somewhere. And I was too stubborn to ask for help, and I needed help, and I still didn't ask for it. Because once he got me to Timberlands, I thought I had made it. That little simple thing of where I went into the store on my own, purchased them, got back in his car. It only took a half hour for me to do it. I came back home and I felt normal. And then COVID hit, and that changed everything. Everything. So, like I said, I celebrate life now, man. I don't, you know what I mean? When people see me, they don't see the sick person because now I have weight to me, I have size to me. I'm working out every single day. You know, so that's that.
That's good, man.
That's it.
Talking nothing but truth. Sharon Duart says, thanks for sharing your courage. I like that. Frank Slaughter from Las Vegas. Listen, totally inspiring podcast. Thank you, Nathan.
Oh, I got one for you.
Yeah.
When I got healthy, I got a friend request from some Nancy Smith lady, and it didn't have a profile pic. I just let it. I didn't even pay attention to it. And then about 3 weeks later, it was a profile pic. The Nancy Smith was my 4th grade teacher.
Wow.
Yeah, and she reached out to me, and because that lady helped me out so much, man. Helped me out so much. And she was like, "I knew you were going to do something with your life, Nate. You know, I knew once you calmed down." She said, "Once you calmed down, you were an excellent student. You had great grades." She said, "All that other stuff, man." She was like, "There's nothing wrong with you." She was like, "You just had a lot of energy." I said, "I was mad. I was small. That's all that was about." I would go to Victor functions, get beat up all the time, which I didn't mind that at all. It was just that I gotta grow. I gotta grow. And I didn't grow until I was 22 years old. So, but my 4th grade teacher reached out to me, and I shared my story with her. She couldn't believe it either.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that book. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, man.
listen, when you get your book and you start thinking about marketing,
You self-publish, right?
huh?
You self-publish your stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. And I just want you to know that, as I see so many people worrying about within their community to market their stuff. Guess what? Market everywhere. Go.
Yep.
I don't care where it is. Alaska. Just get that book out there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people talk. They talk and talk, and but they got alligator arms, man. So just market your book, and it's gonna sell itself.
Yeah.
It's gonna sell itself. I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
The names of the chapters are very interesting.
I could imagine. All right, let's see here. Listening totally inspiring podcast. Thank you, Knight. All right. It's there's just this is great. We're on YouTube. We Facebook Live. Um I'm gonna put this on Spotify. So when you're going home, going up the hill, the northbound, it will be on Spotify this evening. So
Okay.
you want to put on your Bluetooth, that's fine, but everything it will. And this is great, man. This is everything I expected. 5 stars and 5 more stars. You're a great dude, and I can't ask but say, hey, thank you for this. And I'm thanking you only because I had a few tears in my eyes when you're going through your thing, man. And
That bothered me. That bothered me because I knew people were hurting. So that's why I was calling the barbershop almost every day. And I would call King Cuts every day. I would ask the roll call who was there. They put me on speaker. I do what I could do with as much energy as I would have, and I would hang up the phone. And I did that every day for a while until they told me that I couldn't do it anymore. And they took everything away from me. They took my phones. They took everything. So, yeah, because they wanted me to have the strength to heal up. I was too worried about not having people cry and stuff like that. And, so, but I'm here and I'm healthy. Not as wealthy, but I'm healthy. But, and that's it. And that's it, man. I never have a bad day.
Yeah,
the rest of my life, I'm never going to have a bad day, man.
Nope.
I'm not.
Rob says, are the chapters named after MF Doom songs?
No, but he does know I have an MF Doom mask, though. He knows how much I love MF Doom.
Yeah, it's that's good.
MF Doom is an MC who is incredibly gifted. He passed away.
Yeah.
And he had an album called Food, like the letters MMM in food.
Yep.
Every song title was about food. So
this is nice. Steve says, thank you, Charlie, for providing Nate to tell his story. Good night. And all love, my friends. Yes, we love you too, bro.
Steve's a good dude, man.
Yeah. David Gonzalez said, what's good, brothers? Just came on. I hope that I can watch this cast later on. Yeah, do that. Do that, David. All right, Nate, you're the man. You're the man. You need anything from me, don't hesitate. I don't care.
Sir. Yes, sir.
There's no reason why we can't keep in touch because we have each other's numbers, right?
Remember that last time I called you and I needed your help? That situation totally ended.
I could imagine.
Totally, I forgot to tell you that. It totally ended. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Totally ended on no problems, no nothing.
Awesome.
No nothing, man. So got to keep it that way. I got to stay sucker free, man.
Yes, definitely. Damon the Mandan always says that, stay sucker free.
Yeah, stay sucker free, man.
All right, brother.
All right, have a good night, Charlie.
All right, man.
All right, take care.
Rob says he loves us both. Yes, we love you too, brother.
Yes, sir.
My man. Can't get. I wouldn't trade him in for anybody.
Nope, or his crazy mother. Or his crazy mother either.
Yeah. Hey, I still laugh about you telling her she had that Frankie Beverly hat on.
Oh, she did. She did.
She did.
She did.
So, all right, brother. You have a
good
night.
Man. Take care of yourself, brother.
All right.
Bye, man.
God
Later.
Bless. All right. Our man Nate. Hey, he's a great dude, and it speaks for itself. So I'm going to end this podcast with my favorite song. Thank you all for joining me here on Facebook Live and YouTube. We'll be on Spotify. I appreciate it. Don't forget about WNB1 Radio. Add WNB1 Radio to your apps. It's right downtown New Bedford, right there, ready for you to utilize that fine station. You know, everybody is willing to open themselves up to the community with shows, podcasts, you know, hip hop music, 24 hours, 7 days out of the week. First thing in the morning, you get to check out Mags in the Morning. You got Straight to the Point, Sports Talk with Derek Consatio, Steve Lopes, and B Mags. Got my podcast on Tuesdays, the Really Charlie Podcast, along with Frequency Live with Berto, Derek Demers, Jasmine, and Joe Carrion. They are doing amazing things on Sunday night. So we ain't leaving you. And I forgot about Luxury Tax. Luxury Tax is doing their thing, and they're getting episodes together, and then they're going to hit you with a bombshell like that, you know. So they're doing great things. Don't forget WNB1 Radio. All right, y'all. I'm going to end this with my favorite song by Lionel Peter Walker. Take care. God bless. And I will see you all next week on the Really Charlie Podcast. Good night, everyone.
It's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.